Hello, I'm Mike Reddington, the Chief Executive of the BSIA, and I'm delighted to have been invited to this Security Buyer Live session and share with you the work the BSIA is doing to raise the profile and work of those operating in the professional security sector through our People, Property and Places Professionally Protected campaign. First of all, I'd like to just share with you a little bit about who the BSIA are. The BSIA is a not-for-profit trade association representing organisations operating in the professional security industry sector. We were established 56 years ago, and we have 15 sections covering the multiple different activities within the professional security industry sector, ranging from security officer services, security equipment manufacturers, security system installers, and a wide range of other verticals within our market. Our membership represents circa 70% of the security products and services provided in the UK today. We also have a multiple number of special interest groups, abbreviated as SIGs, covering a wide range of subjects such as cybersecurity, facial recognition technology, etc. One of the key things the BSIA does is identify best practice from within our membership. And then we promote that practice with a view of developing it into a code of practice. That then moves on into standard development. And the BSIA technical team and many of its members sit on a wide range of standards bodies, such as BSIA, CEN, CENELEC, ISO, ISEC. BSIA also have very strong and positive relationships with a wide range of industry stakeholders, such as the NSI, the SSAIB, various government departments, and ECHO. One of the roles of the BSIA and the team is actually lobbying government on behalf of our industry and addressing specific requirements for our industry in relation to challenges and opportunities. The BSIA also has a partly owned subsidiary called Skills for Security. Skills for Security primary role was to deliver apprenticeship training for fire and security engineers, and currently has over 500 apprentices on programme, making it the largest apprenticeship training provider in our sector in the UK. That offer has now been expanded into physical security, and we can offer SIA licence training, SIA top-up licence training, and a wide range of commercial courses with multiple offices based around the UK. What I'd like to do now is just provide you with an overview of the campaign. BSIA has been working in partnership with its Security Officer Services members and has launched a new national campaign on improving the profile and identity of security professionals and the industry as a whole. The new campaign will enable us to address common challenges and opportunities and collectively drive our industry forward. This will build on from the Hidden Workforce Perceptions campaign, which we launched in 2020. This campaign was launched following the successful classification by government of the key worker status for those operating in the security industry during the early stages of COVID, which the BSIA was heavily involved in obtaining for our industry sector. There has been recognition of the critical work our sector undertakes during the pandemic. However, it is still relatively under the radar, and the general perceptions of security service providers in both the business and public consciousness remains unclear and potentially undervalued. The BSAA and its members' goal is to raise and establish a positive profile and identity for the security sector by calling for your active support to help us to gain this long overdue recognition. Our new campaign focuses on raising awareness of the following: to raise awareness of our officers and the work they do in protecting people, property and places. It's to improve the retention and recruitment by highlighting the benefits of working within the professional security sector. And it's to promote the benefits of purchasing professional security and encouraging purchasers to buy security relevant to risk and quality and not just on price. The themes of the campaign are going to cover training, highlighting the importance of training and apprenticeships available within our sector. Recruitment and retention, the value of starting your career in the industry, highlighting the wide range of use of technology, the significant progression opportunities with references the opportunity to move from a frontline operator to the boardroom table, as many of our member companies have employees who have achieved that. We will also be promoting the living wage, encouraging security officer services operators to pay or exceed the living wage and emphasising the importance of this to their clients. We also want to address some of the legacy reputation the industry may have, dispelling any old myths and highlighting the many great things that security officers do in their daily work and beyond. For example, highlighting and communicating acts of outstanding bravery. Another area of the campaign we'll focus on is the equality, diversity and inclusion. Now, this is a diverse industry. It is becoming less male dominated and all companies are promoting inclusivity, and we will continue to promote that and champion that through this campaign. Another area that we will be promoting is corporate and social responsibility. Many companies are dedicated in not only improving their businesses to fit in with modern trends, they also provide support in their communities and beyond. The other thing they want to do as well is to promote client satisfaction by highlighting and promoting positive examples of client satisfaction. The association, again through this campaign, will continue to strengthen its partnerships with key industry stakeholders, such as inspectorates, the NSI, the SSIB, and the regulator, which is the SIA, police forces, and the wider industry community. The campaign messaging, we focused around being a security officer, being a career of choice, and a career for anyone from any background, ethnicity, sexuality, and age groups. The officers we engage with often reference they love their jobs and have countless opportunities to progress in their chosen career. Our officers don't just do a job for their company and its clients. They are highly trained and compassionate individuals with great responsibility in keeping people, property, and places professionally protected. The campaign identity will be under the name of People, Property and Places, professionally protected with the professionally protected strapline below it, and it will be referenced as the 3 Ps. To further embed the campaign and create a brand identity, we have created a campaign logo using the 3 Ps. So you'll see the image on this screen of 3 Ps overlaid on top of each other with a strap line below it of professionally protected. And this was created very similar out of some of the other key campaigns that you see for some charities, for example, like the Prostate Cancer Man. And we've converted this into a badge, which I have here, and we will be distributing those across the industry to promote the campaign logo and its identity. To help us embed the campaign is being published across national and regional media, vertical and campaign relevant media, and was soft launched on the 24th of July 2022 in line with the International Security Officers Day, which promotes security officers who operate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. The national launch of this campaign was on the 31st of October 2022 and will run well into this year with 3 primary goals. The first one, to generate interest in the wider public arena for roles our members are recruiting for. This will be achieved through a social media campaign under the banner of Security, a Career of Choice, using dedicated profiles on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. We'll also highlight the value of security procurement with the focus to raise perceptions of our sector, reference to the above, but targeted at a procurement audience using more corporate channels such as LinkedIn, etc. We also plan to raise the perceptions of the value of the industry, again to be achieved through targeted PR coverage via national and relevant consumer publications, outlining the above and the key messaging. Here you'll see example, just some of the areas we will be focusing on for the campaign. An example of some of the social media graphics that we'll be using to embed the campaign and targeting the following. It's B2C, which is business to consumer. And this will be raising the awareness of the professionalism and the value of having professional security in the wake of COVID and the potential increase in terrorist threats and crime. The next one is the B2R, which is business to recruitment. And this will be promoting the value of starting a career in security and the myriad of opportunities the roles offer, and promoting the living wage and training aspect of the role, with a focus to disperse the old stereotypes of the role being the last job in the job centre. The final one will be to the business B2B, which is business to business, is the value of having professional security and actually encouraging businesses to take a more critical view of their security requirements and the services they need, and assessing that based on a risk analysis rather than a budget restricted control. Part of that will be using companies like BSIA members and SIA licensed professionals. This image here will be another one that you will see based around videos. And the goal of this example is to highlight and promote the more softer and human interaction of security officers with the public. Because in many instances, particularly in a retail environment, security officers sometimes are the first point of contact for consumers, and they leave an impression. And they're approachable and supportive and there to create a more safe and secure environment. We have created some guidelines and assets to use in helping to spread the word to promote security as a career of choice. The value of purchasing professional security and raising the perceptions to the general public on the essential role that security officers play 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We would like to encourage the wider industry to get involved in this campaign by following our social media channels and liking, commenting and sharing our content. This also includes using specially created hashtags every time a positive story is posted about the industry across social media. The channels we are using to spread the message can be accessed at the following. On Instagram, it's at security_a_a career of a career of choice. TikTok, security a career of choice. Facebook, security again a career of choice. On Twitter at the BSIA. And on LinkedIn at British Security Industry Association. We have also created a logo that can be used on websites and any related materials that denote you are a committed supporter of the campaign. The guidelines and logos are available on the 3Ps website, which you can see the link as www.bsia.co.uk/brand-ambassador. To find out more, we would ask you to visit the bsia.co.uk/professionally protected link, and through this link you can access the following: the vision and mission of the campaign, an overview of all our members' vacancies with bespoke embedded links to track users from our website to yours, and it's mapped out by regions. There will be case studies of existing officers covering their career pathways, where it will highlight the opportunity to move from being a frontline officer to the boardroom table. There's also a reference to the history of the security industry. And that's to provide a context on how long the industry has been around and its important contribution to society. There'll also be references to career pathways to show an idea of how you can progress and generate a successful career and strong personal income. There'll be areas where we will be promoting apprenticeships and training. And then a final piece of actually the importance of procurement of quality security with a link to our Security Officer Services Director. And there you'll also find the brand ambassador pack and committed supporting logo. That's the end of my presentation. I hope you've found what I've shared with you useful, and I hope we can ask you to actually become engaged with the campaign and support it and start to promote it through the hashtags that we've referenced previously. Thank you.
Hi, Mike. It's great to have you here at Security Buy Live. And the insight from the British Security Industry Association is always one that is very well received. I just had a couple of questions to go through with you, if that's okay.
That's great, Rebecca, and thank you for our invitation to participate in this live presentation.
Well, we appreciate your time. So just to jump straight in, so the BSIA creates codes of practice, but how do you go about actually identifying best practice?
I think the best practice identified through engagement with our members. As I referenced in the presentation, we've got multiple sections covering the full range of security services offered in professional security. Those sections meet on a quarterly basis. And then what we do is we discuss through those meetings actually activities within our industry. You know, what are the challenges? What are the opportunities? And we encourage our members to share best practice. And then we discuss those and then identify them and then promote them. And in many instances, we then develop those best practice into a code of practice. And many of those code of practices are then adopted by the standards body to actually develop in a standard. And one such of those is actually a recent one we did around automatic facial recognition, where through the BSAA we wrote a legal and ethical guide that was published last February 2021. And it's the first document of its kind that addresses the usage of artificial intelligence and automatic facial recognition and a framework of how to be used in both a legal and ethical way that prevents any risk of human right infringement, invasion of privacy, or breaches of GDPR. That's now been actually shared with the BSI. And the BSI are taking that forward and creating a facial recognition technology standard. So the goal for us, for me, that's a very clear example of what a proactive trade association can do for you. We've created a standard that's been written for the industry, by the industry, that will allow the usage of technology development in enhancing the protection of people, property and places, and actually addressing the terrorist risk and organised crime risk.
So the BSIA is definitely always well versed in representing the values of the industry. So I just wanted to dive in a little bit more into the campaign side of your presentation. You spoke about the campaign aimed at improving the profile of security individuals in the industry, not just for people in the industry, but also outside of the industry. So why was this an important cause for the BSIA? And why do you think that security guarding has a perception of being inferior to other security roles?
It's a great question, that, Rebecca, and it's multifaceted. I think historically there's a legacy image of what a security guard does. You know, this is like, you know, an older gentleman sat in a security hut, actually outside a large production plant. It's far from that these days. Is that there's a very diverse and dynamic. And security officers are there in retail applications, they're in social applications, you know, they're in business applications. And the reality of it is that there are 440 SIA license holders in the UK. And there are 120,000 police officers in the UK. So there's more security officers than there are police officers. And in many instances, security officers are the first responders to incidents. But I think the public don't always recognise a security officer until they actually need one. And then when there's an incident, they're the first people they will look to. And I think what's happened is that the public have still got this legacy image of what a security officer is. You know, the security officer now immersed in all of our daily lives. You know, they came to the forefront during COVID, where what they did is they staffed, you know, test centres. You know, they were actually managing accessibility into supermarkets. So they stepped forward during this campaign to the point, one of the things we did obtain is that the government recognised them as key workers because they enabled our world to continue to function. But I think what happens is there's still a legacy image which we need to actually address. We believe, and there's also the combination of usage of technology as well as enhance the services of actually security officers. You know, we've actually moved away from the description of security guard because we think the guard is an antiquated description and not gender or ethnic inclusive. Whereas our role is that we're promoting security officers because it is a much more expanded role in engagement with both the private and public sector in the services they deliver in creating a safe and secure environment for us all to live within.
And it doesn't help that many security officers unfortunately have the perception of being the the alpha, big strong man in the industry, and that's actually far from the reality of like you said, a fairly diverse side of the industry. And speaking of equality, diversity and inclusion, you mentioned that as being one of the core themes of the campaign. So what is it that the campaign will do to actually improve the representation of gender and diversity in the industry?
I think for us, what we will do is promote the number of roles or the opportunities for different gender to actually apply for, and actually roles they can undertake. And the same part of in terms of the inclusivity part, many of our members actually have a very diverse workforce, which people don't realise. And one of the things that we're doing with those operating in the sector is to actually for them to share case study stories with us that we can promote collectively as an industry on the wide, the EDI part of it, because it's something that we are committed to, not just as the BSIA, but the industry as a whole. That includes regulators, certification bodies, government departments, and our members and those operating in the sector. So only we can change that by promoting the opportunities within our sector.
And seeing that representation of whether it be a female security officer, for example, creates that ability for younger generations and recruits to actually see something that is relatable to them, something that they can aspire to, which at the moment it's because the whole industry, not just security industry, but all the other different public industries coming into it, represent the stereotype of a security officer that is very much missing. So it's great to see that you're actually trying to change that. And another core theme that you mentioned as well was the skill gap and the recruitment challenges that are facing the industry. So how can we improve the appeal of STEM studies or security qualifications, but from the foundation of education?
That's a great one, and it's something that I think the whole industry recognises. And one of the things that we are doing is actually we're promoting security a career of choice, but also is that participating in creating a skills council, which is showing which is something that the industry have collectively come together to do, to create a career pathway. Because one of the things that's not clear, and it's not just for the security industry, but seems to be very prevalent in attracting, new entrants into the market and new talent, is by showing them a career pathway, is how you can progress your career through advanced learning, both on a physical perspective, but also on an academic perspective. So that's work that's been undertaken. We've also recently created through Skills for Security and some of our members, we've created an apprenticeship programme for security officers in Scotland, and that's been running since the end of last year. And we're in the process of creating an equivalent apprenticeship programme in England, which we hope will be available before the end of this year.
Well, thank you, Mike. It's been great to discuss this incredibly important campaign with you. And I look forward to getting involved myself as well as security buyer and seeing how it can grow from here. If anybody would like to find out more about how they can get involved, then please reach out to the member of the BSIA team on the platform, and hopefully we can help change these stereotypes together. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca.